Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most profound and transformative speeches in history, the Sermon on the Mount delivered by Jesus Christ. This sermon, which can be found in the Gospel of Matthew chapters 5 through 7, encapsulates some of Jesus's most impactful teachings. These teachings offer timeless wisdom that continues to inspire and guide people around the world. So, sit back, relax, and join us as we explore the depth and significance of these teachings. The Sermon on the Mount begins with the Beatitudes, a series of blessings that Jesus pronounces on various groups of people. These blessings are both comforting and revolutionary, challenging conventional wisdom and societal norms. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. These opening lines set the tone for the entire sermon, emphasizing humility, compassion, and a deep sense of spirituality. One of the most striking aspects of the Beatitudes is how they turn the world's values upside down. In a society that often equates happiness with wealth, power, and success, Jesus highlights the blessedness of the humble, the meek, and those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. These statements challenge us to rethink our priorities and the true sources of joy and fulfillment in life. As we move deeper into the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus addresses the importance of being a positive influence in the world. He uses the metaphors of salt and light to illustrate this point. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its flavor, how shall it be seasoned? It is then good for nothing but to be thrown out and trampled underfoot by men. You are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hidden. These metaphors encourage us to live lives that reflect our values and positively impact those around us. Jesus then transitions into a discussion on the fulfillment of the law. He makes it clear that he has not come to abolish the law, but to fulfill it. Do not think that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to fulfill. For assuredly I say to you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle will by no means pass from the law till all is fulfilled. This section underscores the continuity and completion of God's plan through Jesus' teachings and actions. One of the most profound teachings in the Sermon on the Mount is Jesus' call to a higher standard of righteousness. He reinterprets several commandments from the Old Testament, deepening their meaning and expanding their application. For example, regarding anger, Jesus says, "You have heard that it was said to those of old, 'You shall not murder, and whoever murders will be in danger of the judgment.' But I say to you that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment." This teaching highlights the importance of inner purity and the dangers of harboring negative emotions. Similarly, Jesus addresses the issue of lust, teaching that even looking at someone with lustful intent is equivalent to committing adultery in one's heart. You have heard that it was said to those of old, "You shall not commit adultery." But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart. By raising the standard, Jesus emphasizes the importance of maintaining integrity and purity in our thoughts and desires. Another significant aspect of the Sermon on the Mount is Jesus' teaching on love and forgiveness. He calls his followers to love their enemies and pray for those who persecute them. You have heard that it was said, "You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy." But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you. This radical call to love and forgiveness challenges us to break the cycle of hatred and retaliation and to embody the compassion and grace that Jesus exemplified. In addition to these ethical teachings, Jesus also provides guidance on religious practices such as giving, prayer, and fasting. He emphasizes the importance of sincerity and humility in these practices, warning against performing them for the sake of public approval. Take heed that you do not do your charitable deeds before men to be seen by them. Otherwise you have no reward from your Father in heaven. Regarding prayer, Jesus gives us the Lord's Prayer as a model, which underscores simplicity, sincerity, and a focus on God's will. Jesus also addresses the issue of materialism and worry, encouraging his followers to trust in God's provision and prioritize spiritual treasures over earthly
possessions. Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. He assures us that God knows our needs and will provide for us, urging us to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness. Another key theme in the Sermon on the Mount is judgment and hypocrisy. Jesus warns against judging others harshly while being blind to our own faults. Judge not, that you be not judged. For with what judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? This teaching calls us to self-examination and humility, recognizing our own shortcomings before pointing out the faults of others. As Jesus nears the end of his sermon, he speaks about the narrow gate and the wide gate, illustrating the difficulty and importance of choosing the right path. Enter by the narrow gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and there are many who go in by it. Because narrow is the gate, and difficult is the way which leads to life, and there are few who find it. This metaphor underscores the challenges of living a righteous life and the importance of perseverance and commitment. Finally, Jesus concludes the Sermon on the Mount with a powerful parable about building on solid foundations. He compares those who hear his words and act on them to a wise man who built his house on the rock. When the storms came, the house stood firm because it was founded on the rock. In contrast, those who hear his words but do not act on them are like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. When the storms came, the house fell with a great crash. Therefore, whoever hears these sayings of mine and does them, I will liken him to a wise man who built his house on the rock. This parable highlights the importance of not only hearing Jesus' teachings, but also putting them into practice. It reminds us that true wisdom lies in applying these principles to our lives, building a foundation that can withstand the trials and challenges we inevitably face. As we reflect on the Sermon on the Mount, we see that it is more than just a collection of moral teachings. It is a call to a transformed life, characterized by deep inner change and a commitment to living out the values of the kingdom of God. Jesus' words challenge us to examine our hearts, reorient our priorities, and live in a way that reflects his love, grace, and truth. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the Sermon on the Mount. We hope that these teachings have inspired and challenged you to live a life that embodies the values Jesus taught. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of spiritual and philosophical teachings. Your support helps us continue to bring you meaningful and enriching content. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep seeking the wisdom that transforms lives.